Tua will probably freeze up in Green Bay, says Axel. Yeah. Yep. That's what a lot of you are hoping for and expecting and all that good stuff. That's why Thursday will be fun. But by the way, Dolphin quarterbacks have all froze up in cold weather, my brother. See, that's the problem, Axel, with so many of you, and that's what I love about one of the things I love about doing this is I love correcting people that don't know what the fuck they're talking about. And so a person like you that has no idea what they're talking about, and there it is. And there's Joe Shad and his headline, Miami Dolphins out to prove they can win in cold weather in Green Bay. Dolphins are 3-9 in their last 12 primetime games. They got one win in 32 years when it's 23 or colder. And it's expected to be 17. So last time I checked, has Tua been playing here for 32 years, or was it Marino and Fiedler and Pennington and Lucas and Cutler and Tua and everybody else, right? For 32 years, right? 32 years. They've got one win in cold weather in 32 years. See, the problem with all of you out there is you probably didn't even live the Shula era. But Shula choked like a dog towards the end. He didn't win big games most of the time towards the end. They weren't making a lot of deep runs in the playoffs anymore. I mean, there's a lot of short-term memory here. Jimmy Johnson got thoroughly embarrassed in the playoffs constantly. Dave Wannstedt did nothing with the team that they handed him on defense. Won a bunch of games in the regular season and could never do anything in the playoffs. And it's all these quarterbacks from the back end of Marino all the way till now. But we make it out to be like Axel does. Oh, it's Tua. It's only Tua. No, dude. It's Tua. It's Marino. It's everybody. It's Shula. It's Jimmy. It's McDaniel. It's everybody. It's the Miami Dolphins. The Miami Dolphins have been a choking ass franchise for decades. My favorite team, the team that I love, is a choking ass dog for decades because it's a team thing. Archie Manning wasn't a bad quarterback. He was in a bad situation. That's all. Marino didn't win a championship because he didn't have a defense and a running game. And because Don Shula constantly screwed up with his general managing. He was a disaster as a general manager. So just in case you're worried about Rick Spielman and you're worried about Jeff Ireland and you're worried about any of the other Chris Greer and any other general managers, Don Shula sucked as a general manager also. You know, I mean, we're just going to call things like we see it, right? The Dolphins are a choking franchise. I love them to death, but they're a choking franchise. They've been choking dogs for decades. Not the Tua era, decades. Okay? I've been seeing the disappointment, embarrassment, and pathetic play in big moments forever. When I was young, that didn't happen nearly as much. But As I got into my adult years, that's all that happens. That's all I know for the last 30, 35, 40 years, dude. All I know is Dolphin embarrassment. I sit there and I'm watching this Super Bowl against San Francisco. We got our asses handed to us, dude. And I'm watching the Killer Bees, and here is the Diesel running all over Miami. And there's Joe Theismann stealing the ball back from Kim Bokamper's hands. So, Axel, I get it. You have no depth whatsoever in the history of the Dolphins. You're a youngin'. You got 3 hairs on your balls. You've barely been on this earth, so you don't know really much about it. So let me just pick on the Tua era. So let me just educate you all. This has been going on for decades, bro. Decades. Dolphins have been choking dogs for decades, dude. Decades. So, it's just, it's hilarious. It's hilarious how so many of you do not know the history of this team. Or maybe some of you that are a little older, you want to forget about it. Or because Don Shula's not here anymore or whatever, you don't really want to actually talk about the truth. We all love Shula, and he did some phenomenal things. He was an outright disaster his last 15 years, dude. An outright disaster his last 15 years. If it wasn't for Marino saving his ass, I don't know what happens to that team. Are we going to be honest now? Are we going to be honest? Come on, man. It's just, it's funny. It's funny how so many of you either purposely forget the history and want to erase it from your mind, or some of you are so young that you really don't know the history of the Dolphins. And you act like you're surprised, or you think like this is something recent, or it just happened now. It's been going on for decades, dude. The Dolphins freeze up in big moments for decades.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.